great friend of ours, Jonny Daniels. He's been in this studio with us before, talking about his organization From the Depths. He's been in our studios in Washington, D.C. before, talking about the great work that they do with the righteous among the nations.
We worked with him in Israel.
The righteous Gentiles who helped Jews during the Holocaust across Eastern Europe, and where these concentration camps were set up by the Nazis, and that includes Ukraine, where Jonny's organization, it's fromthedepths.org. Jonny's in Poland, and of course, you know, folks, Poland is dealing with the refugee wave, and I just wanted to get him on. Jonny, one, to just explain what it has been like in Poland as an organization that's kind of shifted some of your focus to help these refugees.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I mean, this has been one of the most shocking weeks of my life. I mean, it's kind of images that none of us would ever imagine to truly see in today's day and age. You're seeing hundreds of thousands of people escaping, running, mothers carrying children in their arms with no pushchairs, no bags, people leaving their whole lives behind just to try and stay safe and stay alive. And it's really shocking. It's tremendously sad and difficult. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
You have tried, Jonny, even I saw this on your social media, and I thought just to explain this to people, this is unique because you've got connection. You used to work with the Israeli government. In the Israeli government, you're now living in Poland, but you're an Israeli, dual citizen. You have actually started to assist some of these families in relocation to Israel.
Yeah, well, this is, I'm a pretty proud Jew, but I think during this time I've been even prouder. I've been even prouder of my country, and what we've seen has just been truly amazing. Ukraine was home to a not small Jewish community of maybe up to about 150,000 people. People who were Jewish, but Ukrainian Jewish. Now, when these people left, as a Jew, they have the right to move to the state of Israel. So Israel took upon itself to take any citizen who wants to and who has the right or opportunity to move to Israel, and has basically plucked them out and help them and relocating them to Israel, where they're taking them and giving them basically a new life, a life that's safer and better for them. And, I've been sort of involved with these people as well. Just yesterday, I took a young mother and her 1-year-old son and, bought them a fresh pair of clothes because they didn't have any. It's truly tremendously sad. Yeah. But again, these are the people who are escaping. The people who have stayed, it is much worse. Kiev, the capital city, is virtually under siege right now, that you can't get bread. People are literally starting to starve.
Jonny, I think about the law of return that allows Jews from anywhere in the globe to come to Israel. That happens usually during times of crisis, and in Ukraine right now, because of the Russian move by Vladimir Putin to attack unprovoked in Ukraine, he has created this crisis. So it's great that some can utilize the law of return and get to Israel. Others are going to be making their homes at least temporarily in Poland. What is the sense, Jonny, that you're hearing from Poles as to their concern about this encroachment onto by Russia onto Ukraine, then bordering right on Poland?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty kind of realistic. My personal opinion and view is that it's kind of going to end with that. Putin's clearly insane, but I don't think it's so crazy to pick a fight with Poland and NATO. Poland obviously being a major NATO player, so I don't consider that's going to happen. However, there is tremendous fear in Poland.
Yeah.
Tremendous. You're talking, normal people are getting very worried.
Sure.
I went to the bank yesterday and to try and take out cash, and the cash machines were all empty. It's been like that for a week. People are very scared. People are thinking of moving bank accounts to different countries. People are, getting go bags ready. People are really worried. Even with this, no one really knows exactly what happened yesterday with this nuclear plant, but it brought huge fear in Poland. Because,
what we do know, Jonny, is that the nuclear plant is now under the control of the Russians. The Ukrainian scientists are running it at gunpoint. Colonel Wes Smith is joining us here in our studio. Colonel, you just written a piece called "Ukraine, Russia, and the Dangers of a Wider War." I was just Johnny's in, obviously he's in Poland, so I was just talking with him about this. What are the risks of a wider war here?
Well, the disconcerting thing about it is that we don't really know. We just know that the risk is wider. The United Nations and NATO, they were established to prevent the very kind of thing the world is witnessing. And yet the fact is, Jay, the nightmare of war in Europe has returned even as we are sitting here. And we do not know how it's going to end. There's the potential for other nations to be drawn in, either accidentally or intentionally. And war has an inherent unpredictability built into it. And the thing about Vladimir Putin, and I appreciate Johnny's remarks, because we literally have over 1 million refugees moving around Europe now because of Vladimir Putin. He is evil and he is unstable. But evil and unstable people rarely see themselves as evil and unstable. And that gives this unpredictability to this.
You know, Johnny, one thing people are saying, I think it was important to point out, too, how this is affecting Poland. I mean, run on the banks, tough to get cash, people think about moving their bank accounts. And you're in a country that is taking in the bulk of those refugees that we just talked about. The world is seeing the Polish people step up, organizations like yours step up. I put in our live video chats, we've got the link to your organization so people can support your work directly at From the Depths. It's also on our screen, fromthedepths.org. But again, it talks about even the effect. You've got these elderly righteous and their families who are stuck in Ukraine. And I know Jerusalem posted a story about your work trying to get supplies to them. But also, it does seem like there's a crisis brewing in Poland, invasion or not. I don't think that's where Putin goes. I think you're right about that. Probably there's places like Moldova and other places I think are more concerned right now. But it is causing a crisis, a humanitarian crisis. Poland is trying to take in all these refugees, but it's becoming difficult on the citizens as well just to go about their daily life and to help people.
Yeah, well, that's right, Jay. I mean, one of the things, and this is kind of a concern, one of the things that I'm trying to do is also with the organization, and even with the money that we raise, is also to make sure that we have in reserve. Because honestly, right now, people have been amazing. And society really steps forward, and people are helping and taking people into their homes and, providing food and shelter and care when they can. But, just from where I am right now, it's enough to go to a central bus station, and there are thousands of people who are laying on the floor, women, children, grandparents, with nothing but the clothes on their back. And with all of this being said, the help is there right now. However, people are going to get tired of this situation quite soon.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
This is the kind of worry. Like, what happens in a month, right? Because, the likeliness is, unfortunately, that this doesn't go the way the war that we necessarily want it to go. The chances of, Ukraine remaining how it did beforehand, it's not going to be like that. Foreign investors are going to run out the country. They already have, but they're not going to be coming back because it's going to be unstable even if Ukraine wins, right? But if it doesn't, a lot of these people won't want to go back. And that puts a huge pressure on sort of civil society and also state support. Again, these are people coming with absolutely nothing. And a lot of women and children. Don't forget that if you're a man from the age of 18 to 60, you can't leave the country. You have to stay and fight. And if, God forbid, men are lost, then you're sort of left with women and children as the breadwinners. It's very, very difficult to make a living. And so there's a lot of unknowns here. It's a pretty scary time.
All right, Johnny, we appreciate it.
Yeah, Johnny, I appreciate you joining us. We were talking through Instagram last night, and it's past 7. It's almost 7:45 p.m. where Johnny is in Poland. But I want to encourage you folks to support his work. It's fromthedepths.org. It's in the chats online as well, so you can see that there. And Johnny, I truly appreciate you joining us, taking that time to join us. So while you're in the midst of helping everybody you can.